It's a shootout at the Alamo Dome, and it's happening on the NBA Tonight, next.
Hi again, and thanks for taking the time to join us on the premiere edition of the NBA Tonight. I'm Stuart Scott. MJ was, of course, MJ. Penny to Mike. Have the drum again, wicked. Still ahead, we're going to have the Dream, Elijah Wine, playing for the West, and much more post-game sound. Stay locked and loaded on the NBA Tonight.
That was footage of the first ever NBA Tonight, 1996, with Stuart Scott hosting. Many teams last night and tonight honoring the late ESPN anchor who passed away at the age of 49 after fighting cancer for 7 years. Several teams with a moment of silence for Stu Scott, who covered the league over the past several years for ESPN. Doug Kazarian back with you here with Tim Legler. And Tim, you obviously worked with Stu many years. What are some of your memories?
Well, I was fortunate enough to call not only a colleague but a friend, and I think, in a professional setting, a workplace, the Sports Center hits that I did with him, he made me a better broadcaster because he always would challenge you with a question during a live highlight read that you didn't know was coming, and it kept you sharp, kept you on your toes, and that was just typical Stu, and you had to be ready for that. We developed great chemistry over the years doing that, but I think where I really got to know Stuart Scott was every year, the 2 weeks we had on the road for the NBA Finals. You're working all day, but then you actually got a chance to go out at night, have dinner, have drinks, get to know each other, and you got to know my family, I got to know his. And the thing that will always stand out to me and will stay indelibly etched in my mind about Stuart Scott was the love that he had for his daughters. It was just so overt in how much he loved for them, cared for them, and how much he talked about them and the tremendous pride that he had. And certainly my heart goes out to them tonight because I know they're missing their dad, and that will always be the thing that I remember more than anything else about Stu. As great as he was at his job, he was an incredible person. And I just have tremendous amount of respect for people that love their children that much and are constantly willing to show you that and talk about their kids with such great pride. They were the center of his universe, and that's what I think about Stuart Scott when I remember him.
I've only been here about 2.5 years, and when I met him, he introduced himself to me. And he's as big of a star as we had. I mean, it was illustrated by the president, releasing a statement and everybody else with the outpouring of support. But when I first got the job, so many people asked me, what's it like, blah, blah, blah. What's Stu Scott like? And he's like the greatest guy. But few conversations I've had, he understood his status, so to speak. He was okay with it, but he used it in a way to demonstrate kindness, and the way he spoke to me and the way he spoke to others as well.
And I think one of the things that really separated Stuart, and there are other people here in the same category, but him especially, when I first met Stuart, when I came here for the first time in 1999, 2000, right after retired, I came from the NBA. I was a role player, wasn't a Hall of Fame player, wasn't an all-star. And Stuart Scott, from day one, just based on us working together and my analysis and my job, he gave me ultimate respect right from the very first day, and made sure that he told me that after the segment, the first segment that I did with him, he gave me one of these and said, man, that was top-notch analysis right there. That meant so much to me, coming from a guy like that I had watched as a player, cover the league prior to getting here, and he was the guy that 11 o'clock Sports Center reading your highlights. He was the guy you wanted to do it. Now here I was working with him, and I was very nervous the first time I did it. And for him to give me that compliment afterwards really kind of gave me a lot of confidence that I was going to be able to do this job and hopefully one day be pretty good at it. That was 14 years ago, and I'll never forget that.
He gets a lot of attention, a lot of recognition for the booyah, and rightfully so. He was a trailblazer and certainly a pioneer in that regard. But take that away, amazing writer, amazing presence on camera, and just had a way of connecting with the viewer in such a personal business. And I think that gets overlooked a little bit because of his booyah and his catchphrases that were also so extreme.
One of the best writers to lead-ins to pieces that we've ever had at ESPN, and I sat there many times watching him do it in awe that he had written that.
Well, he will certainly be missed here on ESPN, not just by the viewers, but people behind the scenes as well. Here are more memories of Stuart Scott and his covering the NBA over 20-plus years.